Well, hello everybody again. Thanks for coming back to our second part of these webinars. So this time we're going to look at the iPad app. I guess I should have said yesterday or on the last video, but if you do want to be notified of any future broadcasts like this, then click on that subscribe button. I believe that's what all the YouTubers say. Okay, so yesterday we looked at the web version of learning journals, and today we're going to look at the app version. So for those of you long-time users of learning journals, you know that for a long time you could only access the system through the web, but now we have an app available, and currently it's only on iOS, but we do have an Android version coming soon. So I've got my iPad hooked up to the screen here, so hopefully you'll be able to see that. And what we have here is our demonstration account, and I've got my staff member called Marion Smith. So this is an iPad screen that you're looking at here, and that's how I'll take you through this demonstration. So to log in, all you have to do is click on Marion's face. So that's the part here. And this will bring you to your password and your PIN screen. Now I'm just going to move this off of here while I put in my password. So it's the same password that you would use on the web version. There we go. So if we'll sign in here. Now, if it's your first time logging in, the first time that this the device you're using has logged in, it will take a little bit longer than what you've just seen there, because we do need to download all your recent observations. So be prepared for it to take maybe a minute or so to download all those observations, but once it has been synced to your device, then you should have a really quick login experience. So it's unlike the web where you have to wait for pages to load, for example. So what we're seeing here is the app is a companion to the web, and it's really big. It's obviously for staff only at this time. It's not for parents yet. We do have a parent app that we want to get out to folks, but this is a companion app for staff, and it's so unlike the web. This is much more personalized to the staff member. So you can see on the left we've got Marion, our nursery manager here. On the right-hand side, we've got we've got a stream here of all Marion's recent observations, and we can scroll down and we can see all those. You can see there's difference if it's been published or if it's just a draft. We can, down the left-hand side, we've got a little menu here. So for all Marion's observations, which is what we're looking at there, we can look at all the children in the nursery, and here is your key children at the top, so we can see that this particular person's got 3 key children, and down below you've got access to all the different rooms as well. So for example, if I click into the 3 to 5s room, we can see all the children in the 3 to 5s. This information is all the same as is on the web app. It's no different. All the observations are the same. The child data is the same. And when you take an observation on the app, it will sync up to the website as well. One of the great benefits of the app is that you can actually use it offline. So if you don't happen to have an internet connection, you can still take observations and then upload them when you do have a connection. So if I look at a child's profile, so I'm going to click on our buddy Alistair here, because we used him in the other video. So here we can see all the recent observations for Alistair. We can scroll down and we can just see all his previous and older observations. Each observation, just as it does on the web, has a description, which you've got in this area. It's got our photographic or video evidence. We've got our child's voice here. Any parent comments show up as well. We can click on this Learning Outcomes and Progression Pathways tab to see the different outcomes. We've got all the information down below here, and also links to either the observations or the next steps tracker. I'll take you to the next steps tracker in a little bit. But first, I think what we should do is take an observation. So the core of the app is being able to quickly take observations. You'll see it's a stripped down version compared to the web. You can't do a lot of the sort of admin functions that you can, but it's really for staff, for key workers, for teachers to be able to take observations quickly. So the way to do that for this child, obviously, is just click on our new observation button. And hopefully you can see there the difference in speed between clicking on a button and in the app it's instant, whereas on the web you would have to wait for pages to load, and it would be dependent on your device and on your internet connection, for example. So we just again have to build our observation by following these instructions. So type in here, what learning are we observing? And I'm going to use I'm going to use a different one actually. I'm going to say Alistair was learning about wildlife this time. Of course, with it being an iPad, it's got a built-in spell checker. And you can do all the things with text that you do with a regular iPad. So we can select, highlight, change. So we can change our child if we want to here using these. We can change the dates if we want to, if it's something that happened previously. So once we've done that, we then can either close our keyboard or we can click on one of these sections down below. We can go into our photo or video, child's voice, learning outcomes, progression pathways, or next steps. So let's just add a photo and see the differences there. So if I add a photo, I've got the option here to either use what I have on the camera roll, or down below, if I move this little box, we can activate the camera. So depending on if you've already taken photos or if you want to take new ones, that's a selection you would make. I'm going to upload some of the ones from our camera roll here. Here I've got 3 beautiful looking animals, so I'm just going to select all 3 of them. And that's done. So there's our photographs added. We can edit the photos if we want to. So if I tap on the picture of this red panda, which is what I think that is, we can crop, we can rotate, do all that sort of stuff. So really good image manipulation in here. So then we can we can use the buttons down below to add more to our observation. So if I want to click on these quotes, that gives us the child's voice. And this is what we imagine you would use to find out what the child thought about that particular activity. So the child, very child friendly here. They can click on how they felt about this. Let's say that Alistair loved it, obviously. And what did he say? I love animals. Of course he does. And then we can click on add at the top here. And that moves us on. So there we can see that our child's voice has been added down here. Our next thing we want to do is our outcomes. So this is the next on the list. We click on this. Now, Alistair's on the curriculum for excellence, but the same as on the web, you can have observation, experiences and outcomes from multiple curricula. So if I click on our curriculum for excellence, you can see which curricula have been activated for this particular account. And if you wanted to add or remove any curricula, you would do that through your web app and in your configuration tab there. So if I stick with the R level, we can see we're in expressive arts, but obviously we've got all the different curricular areas here. In the EUIFS, you would have your full 17. And then we just choose whichever one we want to add in. And I'm going to add in a few different ones here. I realize these are not really maybe to do with wildlife and animals, but let's just add in some so you can see how it works. We have our red, amber, green by default again, and you would do a rating here depending on what you think this child is compared to this outcome. So we've done our outcomes, clicked on done there up the top, and we've done our outcomes. We now want to move on to our progression pathways. As on the web app, progression pathways are optional. You don't have to add them if you don't want to. These are the I can statements, or depending on what your curriculum is. So here we can go into our characteristics for effective learning in the EUIFS, for example. But I'm just going to stick with the curriculum for excellence I can, so I can do as much as I can by myself. Let's do that one there. Select that as yellow, and then we move up to the done button at the top here. And then if we want to, we can add in some next steps. So our next steps here are this little graph button here. So here's Alistair's active next steps. I want to be able to choose an activity of interest and play with friends, continue to explore books, be able to choose activity. So I can add a next step in here, or I can remove it as well. And I can choose whether I'm going to complete this next step or add it as a milestone. I'm not going to add any next steps here because I want to show you the next steps tracker and show you what that's like. So at any stage, I can save and close this observation up the top here, and that will not publish observation, but it will have it saved. But if I want to continue to publish observation, I click on next. And here we go. It looks like we're ready to publish the observation for Alistair. Do I want to replicate it? So like we have on the website, we can publish an observation to multiple children. And I want to do that here and show you how that works. So I click on Add Children. And let's choose some children from the 3 to 5s room. Let's go with Abby. We can see Alistair's locked out here because he's already he's the root observation, the root child. We'll have Isabel, and let's pick Amy as well. Okay, and then if we want to, we can add children from different rooms depending on what you're doing. And then I'm going to click on the next button up the top. So if you will be aware that in the web app, we can replace a child's name in group observations. So the web app is actually smart enough to do this for you, or give you a hint at least anyway. So you can see it's picked up that we're on Alistair's profile, and it's highlighted Alistair's name for me. So if we want to replace a child's name, we just have to make sure it's highlighted. So it's highlighted in there, and we can apply that. So there we go, we're ready to go. We can now publish the observation for all the children or save it as a draft, and I'm going to publish. And that's published into Alistair's profile. You can see that coming in there. There we go. So here we go. All done to his profile, and it's all synced up as well to the website. So we can look at our learning outcomes and progression pathways. If we wanted to edit this, we would just use this little edit button up the top of the screen here. And that's really taking observation. It's really quite simple. You just have to go through those processes and choose which you want to do. I'm going to go back to our dashboard here for Marion, our manager. We can have a look, and we can see that if I go into Marion's observations, we've got the different observations that we did for Alistair, and we copied them over to the different children as well. We can go into Amy's one here. Amy was learning about wildlife, so you see the name has been changed over. And if we want to, we can change all the things about this that we have. So I could go in, and maybe Amy had a different experience here. She didn't like that so much. And we can add in something if we want to. So the last thing I want to show you, because this is a much more stripped down version, is the next steps for a child. So let's go to, for example, I'll go back to, let's go with Amy. And if I look down at the left-hand side, I can see Amy's next steps tracker. I can click into this, and I can see the different active next steps that Amy has. Be fluent in spelling the alphabet confidently. And then we've got a couple of tests here that we've done while we've been working this out. We've got 2 tabs at the top, active and achieved. If I click on her achieved record, be fluent in counting to 10, to learn the alphabet fluently. So these are actual next steps that she has actually achieved. And I can click on this button, view learning journey, to see all the observations associated with that. So here we go, we can see that at the top she's achieved the next step to learn the alphabet fluently and be able to recite it. And down below we've got this pathway to her achievement here of the different things that she did to learn how to do that. So that's the next steps tracker. We can see there was 5 observations in that, who created it, when it was achieved, and this also gets saved up to the child's web profile as well. That's about all we have to the app. It's, as I said, it's a companion app to the web app, and it's meant to be really simple, easy to use for staff. There's not all the options that you would have with the web app, so you can get on with the business of taking observations, creating observations, and then doing that quickly, syncing them to the website, and you're back into the room to look after the children and carry on with all the other business in the nursery. Hope this was useful. If anyone has any information, any sort of questions at all, they can obviously get in touch with us at info@learningjournals.co.uk. I'll bring our website back on the screen here. Contact us using the contact form or a telephone number, And anyone who has not yet had a free trial, you can do so by clicking on the free trial button up the top and then completing the form that appears on this page. We'll get your account set up as quick as we can and have you up and running in no time at all. Thanks very much. Look out for future videos for other features that we've got coming. We've got more developments coming for the app, and we'll have them. We'll send out emails to all existing customers, but subscribe to our YouTube channel here and you'll be kept updated of any future videos. Thanks very much.